Namaste. Welcome to this evening practice yogi. This is a really quiet practice that's perfect to do in the evenings before bed or anytime maybe your nervous system is just maybe feeling a little wired, but you feel physically exhausted, or if you're just finding that your body has a hard time settling into stillness. So we're going to go through a series of poses. We're going to open up the front of the body. We're going to open up the hips, a little bit through the side body as well. And then we're going to release the heaviness in the legs too. So in terms of props, a couple of blocks is what you need. If you want to bring in some blankets, bolsters, eye pillow for Shavasana, we're going to have a little bit of a longer Shavasana than what is normally in this practice. So you're more than welcome to bring in a blanket, maybe to cover yourself up during that time. And that's about all that I have to say. So we're going to start with our first yin pose to open up the front of the body. We're going to start with supported fish. Okay. So you're going to grab your blocks and we're going to keep this super supportive for the neck and for the chest. So grab one block on the highest level and place that up towards the top of your mat. Then take your second block at the lowest level and you're going to run it horizontal a few inches just in front of your other block. And then you're going to turn yourself around, come down onto the blocks, making sure that nothing is digging in the neck or the low back. Okay, your bum is grounded. Feet can be grounded as well, or you can extend the legs out. Just depends on your personal preference today. And then you can take your arms out shoulder height, palms up, soft bend in the elbows. Close your eyes down once you settle in. And then unhinge the upper jaw from the lower jaw and let the tongue relax. If you're wearing glasses, I invite you to take them off for practice. And I encourage you to keep the eyes closed as much as possible. Now, as you move through the pose and you focus on the breath and the stillness, you can start to work towards a 4 or 5 count breath in through the nose and a 6 or 7 count breath out through the nose. Now you're not aiming to try to force this breath. You're letting it flow with ease. We're a little bit more than halfway through the pose. We have another couple of minutes. Take a moment to notice the breath. Is there change that you'd like to invite into it? Is it perfect just as it is? Take one more deep breath. And then begin to bring the arms down towards your hips. If your feet and legs are extended out, start to walk them back onto the mat, bringing your feet and your knees side by side. You're going to extend your left arm out a little bit towards the left. Think of it like an anchor. And you're going to shift your hips a little bit to the right, and you're going to slowly begin to come off the blocks. And then you're just going to take one block on the lowest setting, put it up a little bit higher, and come onto your side in a fetal position with the left side of your head resting on the block, knees tucked together, and let your arms relax here. And take 3 to 4 deep breaths, all through the nose. Now we're going to stay resting on our left side. Your left arm is going to come out from your left shoulder, almost like you're making half of a letter T. The palm faces up. And then before we move anything with the right arm, check in with the low back. If you feel like you need a little more support, you can grab a block and place it between the knees. And that just gives a little extra support there. And then you can take the right arm up in the air, turn the palm away, and start to bring the forearm on towards the low back with the palm facing out. Now there's a tendency to try to roll back. I want you to see if you can keep right shoulder stacked above the left. And if your arm doesn't really want to extend back fully, you could always drape the hand onto the side of the hip instead, and allow the elbow to roll outwards towards the low back. Okay, so lots of options there. Now find a little gentle tuck of the chin, so the back of the neck lengthens. Eyes closed. And slowly come back to the breath. And as you're breathing here, see if you can feel into the expansion through the side of your body. As you breathe a little deeper into the ribs, you start to bring in a deeper sense of rest, which makes for a deeper, more full night of sleep. Take one more full deep breath. And as you begin to release the hand back behind you, just slowly let it land onto the top of your hip so that your shoulder and your arm have a support. And take 2 to 3 deep breaths here. And you can gently return onto your back for a moment and pause. And now with knees and feet side by side, you're going to shift a little bit towards the left. And this time you're going to roll into fetal onto your right side. Knees stacked, head supported as you need to. Right arm extends out from the right shoulder, palm up. And then take the left arm up, externally rotate, and let it softly land on towards your low back. As best as you can, try not to twist through the spine. And if a full extension doesn't feel possible, you can let the hand rest on the top lap and turn the elbow back. So you're getting a little bit of movement in there. Draw the awareness to the side of the ribs. And let your breath flow all the way up and all the way down. Take a deep breath all the way up through the front of your body, along the side of your body. And then as slowly as you can, empty the breath out. Then let the back arm release. Let it land on the top of the thigh. Pause here. Let the body rebound. Give it a moment. And then this time you're going to make your way up to a seated position. And I'm going to encourage you to sit up on something. So that could be a block, it could be a bolster, whatever you have that's available for you. And if you have another block handy, you can certainly have that close by. We're going to move into a half dragonfly. So we're going to tuck the right foot in and we're going to take the left leg out. Now, you don't have to take it out very wide, just enough that there's a little something there to tug on in the inner thigh. If your bent knee is lifted, grab a block, tuck it underneath there for a little bit of support. Okay. And then sitting up nice and tall, think of grounding through your sit bones. Shoulders soft. Take a deep breath in here. And now you might choose that sitting upright here is perfect for your body. You're also welcome to find a block in front of you, whichever height you need. I'd probably start with the highest level. And you might just bring your forearms down onto it and kind of lean forward a little bit, but still grounded through your seat. Sometimes I like to bring my elbows onto the top of the block and I let my face land into my hands so that my neck and head are supported. And then I just let my chin drop a little bit and close my eyes. So you can work with either one of those variations. But the breath this time, the focus is through the back of your body. Think of breathing like you're opening up a book right through the center of your spine. Think of depth of breath, not depth of movement in the pose. And you start to grow the exhale, letting it be a little bit longer than your inhale. And take 2 more deep breaths. And maybe you can keep the eyes closed as you slowly start to lengthen the spine back up, letting the hands rest in the lap for a moment. Take a breath in and a breath out. Then take a moment to let the legs release. I like just a comfortable cross-legged position to rebound, but you can certainly take the legs and extend them out, or even just have the knees softly bent, the hands resting on the top of the thighs. Take a moment, let the body recalibrate. And now we'll transition to the other side. So we're going to have that left foot drawn in and the right leg extended out into that diagonal half dragonfly. Again, support if you need to underneath the left knee. And option 1 is to maintain just a nice long straight spine. Maybe hands just rest on the block. Option 2, if you want a little bit of a fold, ground through the seat first. And then start to draw the heart forward. Maybe the elbows come down. Maybe the head rests on the hands. Doesn't have to be the duplicate of what you did on the other side. I want you to really listen to your body and decide, what do you need here? What does your nervous system need here? Allow yourself to fully breathe in to a capacity that feels accessible in your body. And then signal the nervous system to relax deeper by extending your breath out a little longer. keep coming back to the sound of your breath. And now take 2 more deep breaths. And then gently start to release out of the pose, either coming to a comfortable cross-legged position or extending the legs out for a moment, letting your body reset. Continue long, slow, deep breaths here. Now, momentarily, you're going to open the eyes and we're going to move into more the lower half of the body. We're going to release the legs. So you have 2 options. If you are close to a wall, then you can take your legs straight up against a wall. Okay? If you are not, then what you're going to do is you're going to grab one block on the lowest setting. You're going to place it about your right hand, and you're going to come down onto your back, and you're going to lift your hips up, slide the block just at the base of the sacrum here, and then the legs will start to come up into the air. They don't have to be fully up. You could even just let the feet dangle a few inches from your mat if you like. You're welcome to also take the arms up into the air or just let the arms extend out in a comfortable position. So if you're choosing wall space, I want you to think of not necessarily getting quite so close to the wall, but close enough that at least your heels land on there. And then wherever you are, let the back of the knees soften a little bit. And let your breath flow as effortlessly as possible. In through the nose, maybe 5 or 6 counts. Out through the nose, maybe 7 or 8 counts. Not forced, not rushed. take one more really deep breath, as if you're sending the breath all the way through the entire body, from toes all the way up to the crown of your head. And then start to bend the knees. Eventually the feet land onto the mat. If you're against the wall, you can start to let the knees come into the chest and roll to one side. And take a moment to hug your knees in towards your chest. And then we're not quite ready for Shavasana, but I encourage you to start to set your body down onto the mat with props. So placing some blocks underneath your thighs. If you are feeling a little bit chilled, you can place a blanket over top of you. We're going to do a little bit of a breath work practice before we settle into our final Shavasana. So for this breath work, we'll be moving the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And it's going to be a steady pace with a pause between the inhale and the exhale, and then a pause between the exhale and the inhale. The inhale will be a count of 5, and the exhale will be a count of 7. So when you're ready, just take a normal breath in and out through the nose. And then we'll begin in 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 1, 2. Exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 1, 2. And then start the cycle again. Inhaling all the way up for 5 counts. Holding the breath for 2. Exhaling for 7. And then holding for 2. Now, if at any point this feels like it might be too much or it's too strenuous, bring it down to a ratio of 4 to 1 to 6 to 1. You can mindfully count the breath in your mind. Doing a dedicated breathwork practice before bedtime is one of the most deeply restorative poses and practice that you can do for a really deep night of sleep. And while I consider breathwork to be a practice, I also consider it to be a pose of deep restoration and recalibration. Now, if you're finding the ratio of 5 to 7 to be quite effortless, then you can bring it up to 6 and 8. You'll still hold for 2 in between the inhale and exhale, and then between the exhale and the inhale. You're also welcome to place your hands onto your body, maybe one on the belly and one on the chest, just to really anchor yourself into being present with your breath. Complete one more full cycle of this breath. Then let the breath come back to an unmeasured pace. You're not noticing the inhale. You're not trying to inhale. You're also not trying to exhale or noticing the exhale. The breath is simply flowing on its own. But take a moment to notice how you feel. Notice how you feel in your mind. Notice how you feel in your body. You may even notice how you feel in your energy field. You may even notice how you feel in your nervous system. And now I welcome you to get as comfortable as you can for Shavasana here. This is where you might cover yourself up, or you might put a small eye pillow or towel over your eyes. Make any adjustments so that this pose feels completely effortless. Continue to let your breath flow at an unmeasured pace as you take this time for your body, your mind, and your nervous system to restore. Now, without moving your body, begin to redirect a deliberate breath back into your body. You're noticing that you're inhaling. You feel the inhale. You might even know how long the inhale is. You also notice the exhale. You feel the exhale. And you may even notice how long the exhale is. You start to feel this breath moving through your whole body. You begin to wiggle out your toes. You begin to wiggle out your fingers. Your ankles and your wrists begin to circle. You might even gently move your head from side to side. And then the arms will extend up above the head, and you'll take a deep stretch as if you were just waking up after a long night of deep sleep. You feel your whole body starting to reawaken, but yet in a more peaceful and calming way. And then hug the knees in towards your chest and begin to rock from side to side. Eventually, you're going to roll over into a fetal position, pausing there for a moment. And gently start to guide yourself up into a comfortable seated position, letting your hands rest in your lap, palms facing up, shoulders drawn down, tailbone grounded, spine lengthened. And as you deliberately breathe here, again, notice, how do you feel? Take a moment, scan your body. And then take one deep, full breath. And bring the palms of your hands together in front of the heart and take a moment in appreciation for the ability for your body, your mind, and your nervous system to have been in this practice today. See if you can carry a little bit of this essence, this peace, this tranquility with you as you head into bed. And I wish you the most peaceful, deep, full night of sleep. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.